डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन युनिव्हर्सिटी.
Good afternoon, dear students. I, Dr. Chintan Waghela, working as an assistant professor at Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. Our today's session is scheduled for Master of Arts. Subject code is MEG 104. And the topic is theoretical perspective. So, components for the today's presentation: learner in society, first language, second language, and foreign language. English as a second language learning or second language acquisition, status of English language teaching in India, learner process, and teacher as a facilitator. The first slide is all about the learner in society. See, the language functions as a fundamental communication tool essential for human understanding and interaction, which bridges the external physical world with an individual's internal cognitive and emotional process, which allows for the articulation and sharing of thoughts, feelings, and experiences related to people, places, events, objects, and abstract ideas. Language establishes social connections, enabling individuals to build rapport within society, share personal histories, and plan for the future. It facilitates expressions of care, trust, and cooperation, which are foundational for community cohesion. Beyond social interaction, language helps and transmits cultural knowledge, which serve as a vessel for the preservation and advancement of civilization. On the other hand, individual level, it plays a critical role in cognitive functions such as concept formation, memory, interpretation, and the shaping of attitudes, perceptions, values, and worldviews. Language also supports the acquisition of the daily tasks and the development of advanced cognitive skills, including critical thinking, sensitivity, empathy, and creativity. The choice and the selection and the style of language reflects the individual's identity, and which becomes an integral part of their second nature and a mirror of their own personality. In this slide, we are having information about the first language, second language, and foreign language. Infants, typically between the age from 5 to 6 months old, begin to respond to speech sounds, showing early awareness and engagement with the spoken language. This marks the initial phase of their communication journey, and around the age of 1, most children start articulating a few simple words, which often link to familiar projects, objects, and the people. Language development progresses gradually from these single words to short sentences and recognizable sound patterns. This natural evolution reflects children's growing cognitive and linguistic abilities as they observe and mimic language from their environment. Children also acquire meanings and language skills primarily through consistent exposure within their community, particularly within their family's situation. And by the age of 5, most children can communicate effectively using their family's language, which demonstrates a broad vocabulary and the ability to form coherent sentences. Language acquisition is an inherent effortless process for the children. And according to the popular linguistic Noam Chomsky, He says children are born with an innate language acquisition device, a mental mechanism which facilitates the natural learning of language without explicit any kind of teaching. Typically, the child's the first language, L1, is the language spoken by family members, providing a rich and familiar context for learning. And meaning is often derived from the frequently discussed and relevant topics such as toys, foods, and the people, which ground language in practical experience. The mother or primary caregiver usually acts as the central source of the language input, modeling speech and conventional patterns that children imitate and internalize over time. And a child's language comprehension, which expand to grasp more complex concepts, abstract ideas, and subtle nuances, which enables sophisticated communication skills. Next slide is all about that English as a second language. English holds diverse roles across the globe, and which serves as a first language in countries like the Canada, USA, UK, Australia, where it is the primary medium of communication, whereas in India, English functions predominantly as a second language and widely used in education and administration, but not as a mother tongue. Meanwhile, what happened that in the countries such as Japan, China, Russia, English is treated as a foreign language, primarily learned in academic sectors only. Indian American linguistic Braj Kachru that he has categorized English speakers into three circles: the inner circle, where English is the native language; outer circle, where it is an important second language due to historical factors like colonization; and the expanding circle, where English is taught and learned as a foreign language and serves as a vital international lingua franca. This model underscores the complex and evolving the status of English worldwide, shaped by history, culture, and practical necessity. Next slide is all about that second language learning or second language acquisition. Language acquisition and language learning both are distinct processes. Acquisition is a natural, subconscious way of absorbing language, learning a language through exposure, like acquiring a mother tongue, while learning is a conscious, formal study of a second language, often guided by the tutors or the structure, patterns, and the programs. People learn second language for purposes such as career advancement and adapting to new social environments. Second language acquisition combines subconscious and conscious efforts and can happen naturally or through tutoring, emphasizing comprehension and appropriate use over strict accuracy. A language has a rich environment and which significantly enhances the acquisition, where both the qualities and the quantities of spoken of language matters a lot. Like learner motivation includes the willingness to take risks and engage creatively, plays a crucial role in achieving the proficiency. Humans possess an innate ability for language acquisition, though the specific languages learned depend on environmental influences and personal choices. In India, English language teaching primarily reflects the conscious learning approach in language education. Next slide is all about the status of ELT in India. That English has been established in India for over 3 countries. Several Indians, including like Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, have attained proficiency in English largely through their own efforts. However, the current state of English language teaching in Indian educational institutes necessitates the substantial improvement. Present ELT classroom predominantly emphasize grammatical rules and their utilization exceptions often neglects contextual uses and practical applications. Discussions and communicative practices in classroom remain minimal. Literary materials are frequently taught through critical analysis or translated into students' native languages rather than encouraging direct engagement with the language. Assessments are typically based on textbook questions with easily accessible answers, which discourage active learner involvement. Teaching methodologies prioritize translation exercises, memorization of grammatical rules, and role play learning, placing greater importance on achieving high examination scores rather than fostering genuine language acquisition. Effective mastery of English demand consistent practice across the 4 core skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Learner requires exposure to varied English language contexts and ample opportunities to actively use in the language in practical situations. Next slide is all about the learner process. So in this slide we are having information about that how the learning process happen exactly. See that we already talked that English has been established in India for over 3 centuries. Many Indians, including like Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, the expert, that he says that achieving proficiency in English often through their own dedication. However, English language teaching in Indian schools and colleges demands substantial improvement. Current English language teaching classrooms concentrate predominantly on grammar rules and exceptions, providing limited contextual examples. There is minimal engagement in discussion or practical language use. Literary texts are typically interpreted through critical perspectives or translated into students' native languages. Evaluation methods depends on textbook-based questions with the easily accessible answers, which undermines active learner participation. Teaching approaches which emphasize translation memorization of grammatical rules rather than practical application of language skills. The prevailing goal is to secure good examination results rather than to cultivate genuine language competence. Effective English learning requires consistent practice in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Learners must be exposed to diverse English language contexts and provided with opportunities to actively practice the language. Next slide is all about the teacher as a facilitator. So in this slide we are having information about that how the teacher is playing a role of facilitator. English has been a part of India for over 300 years, with many Indians, including prominent figures like Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, that he demonstrates the noble proficiency often as the result of personal dedication and the effort. Despite this, English language teaching in India still faces considerable challenges. In many classrooms, there is a heavy emphasis on teaching grammatical rules and exceptions, but this often lacks practical contextual example that help students that how to understand and how to use in English language as well as real life situations. Literary texts are usually explained through critical analysis or translated into students' native languages, which reduces opportunities for practical engagement with the language. Furthermore, evaluation methods predominantly focus on testing students' ability to recall information from textbook rather than assessing their ability to use English actively. And what happened as a result, the teaching often revolves around learning and preparing for exams rather than promoting real world language use. To address these challenges, it is essential to focus on developing all four skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing, while also providing students with opportunities to use English in diverse contexts, which encourage active participation and practical application of the language. This shift would move the focus from simply memorizing textbook content to truly mastering the language for effective communication. So, dear students, I hope you understand today's session properly. Kindly go to the video twice so that at least that you have an identify what is the topic exactly. Thanks to all the dear students for giving your valuable time. Thank you.